My name is Ethan Hayes. I'm 28, a project manager at Stonebridge Development. I've been married for 3 years to my wife, Claire Thompson, an elementary school teacher. I have an ability that other people don't. I can feel the temperature of their emotions. People who genuinely wish me well feel warm. Those who are deceptive or insincere feel ice cold. And my wife, Claire, has been ice cold since the day we got married. Today is our 3rd wedding anniversary. Claire is sitting on the sofa grading papers, not even looking up. I already heated up dinner. You can eat whenever. Her voice is as flat as still water. I stand in the middle of the living room, feeling the waves of cold radiating from her. 3 years. For 3 years, she's been this distant. She doesn't fight, she doesn't argue, but she never gets close. It's like we're roommates who split the rent. Claire, it's our anniversary today, I say, try to remind her. She finally raises her head and glances at me. Oh, is it? With just that, she lowers her head and goes back to her papers. The chill coming from her makes me shiver. I don't understand why it's like this. When we got married, it was arranged by our families. She didn't object. But after the wedding, she just got colder and colder. We barely even talk, let alone anything else. My phone rings. It's Chloe Davis. Ethan, the proposal for tomorrow needs one more revision. Do you have time now? Chloe is the sales manager at my company. She's 24, beautiful, and always kind to me. Whenever I'm with her, I can feel a comforting warmth from her, like sunlight in spring. I'll be right over. I grab my jacket, ready to leave. Claire finally speaks up again. Working late again? Yeah, proposal needs some changes. She nods, saying nothing more. The cold emanating from her feels even heavier now. I don't know why she's like this, but I'm used to it. Chloe lives in a downtown apartment. She's single, and the place is decorated with a cozy touch. Thanks for making the trip, she says, pouring me a cup of tea. This proposal is really important. It's due to the client tomorrow. She sits down next to me, her light perfume pleasant and inviting. The warmth coming from her makes me feel comfortable, a feeling I never get at home. You don't seem to be in a great mood, Ethan, she asks with concern. I give a bitter smile. It's my wedding anniversary today, but your wife didn't remember? I nod. Maybe she's just busy with work. Teachers have it tough, Chloe says, trying to console me. Her hand rests gently on the back of mine. The warm touch sends a slight jolt through me. Thank you, Chloe. We're colleagues and friends. Don't mention it, she says with a sweet smile. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's Claire. When are you coming back? It'll probably be a while. Oh, she hangs up. Chloe notices my disappointment. Ethan, if you're unhappy, you can talk to me. I'll listen. Her eyes hold a kind of care I've never seen in Claire's. It feels as warm as a spring thaw. It's already 10 by the time I get home. Claire has showered and is sitting up in bed, reading a book. Proposal finished? She asks without looking up. Yeah. I sit on the edge of the bed. Want to talk to her. Claire, are we? I'm a little tired. I'm going to sleep. She puts down her book and turns off the lamp. In the darkness, I can clearly feel the coldness from her body. It's like the biting wind of a winter night. Lying next to her, I feel more alone than if I were sleeping by myself. Why is it like this? Why is she so cold to me? When we got married, she wasn't exactly passionate, but she wasn't this distant either. Where did it all go wrong? The next morning, Claire is up early. By the time I wake up, she's already dressed for work. Breakfast is in the kitchen. Make sure you eat. It's the only thing she says to me before leaving. I sit alone at the dining table, eating the breakfast she made. It tastes fine, but it feels like chewing on cardboard, because the person who made it has not an ounce of warmth for me. My phone rings again. It's Chloe. Ethan, the client loved the proposal from yesterday. Let's celebrate at lunch today. Her voice is full of excitement and joy. Even over the phone, I can feel her warmth. Okay, I agree. Maybe I need some of that warmth. At noon, Chloe picks a great restaurant. She's wearing a light blue dress today, looking beautiful. To us for landing this project, she says, raising her wine glass. It was mostly your work, I say, clinking my glass against hers. The alcohol helps loosen the atmosphere. Ethan, do you remember when we first met? Chloe asks suddenly. Of course I remember. It was 6 months ago, when she just started at the company. The first time I saw her, I was drawn to the warmth she radiated. It was a temperature I hadn't felt in a very long time. I remember. You were pretty nervous, I say with a smile. Yeah, new jobs are always nerve-wracking. Good thing you were there to help me, or I probably would have been fired by now. She looks at me, her eyes holding an unreadable emotion. You're excellent at your job. No need to be modest. In front of you, I always feel like I'm not good enough. Her words warm my heart. The temperature coming from her grows stronger. Chloe. Thank you. For what? For letting me feel some warmth. She pauses for a moment, then smiles. It's a beautiful, warm smile. Just then, I see a familiar figure. It's Claire. She's standing at the entrance of the restaurant, looking right at our table. When she sees me sitting with Chloe, her expression changes. But she doesn't come over. She just turns and walks away. In that instant, I feel a coldness unlike any I've ever felt before. It's not coming from Chloe. It's coming from Claire, all the way across the room. A cold so profound it makes me tremble. That night, Claire came home very late. I waited for her in the living room. "Where were you today?" I asked. "Things at school," she said. Her voice was colder than usual. The chill coming from her was so intense it felt like it could freeze me solid. "Claire, about what happened at lunch today." "What happened?" She looked at me, her eyes devoid of any temperature. "I saw you at the restaurant." "Oh, just one word." Then she went upstairs. I sat on the sofa, feeling the coldness permeate the entire house. Why was it like this? Why did seeing me with Chloe make her even colder? If she cared, shouldn't she be angry? But she couldn't even be bothered to be angry. She just got colder. So cold my heart felt like it was turning to ice. The next day, I woke up early to make Claire breakfast, hoping to ease the tension between us. When she came downstairs and saw the food on the table, she paused for a second. "Thanks." She sat down to eat. I sat across from her, trying to find the right words. "Claire, about yesterday." "You don't need to explain," she cut me off. "But I want you to know Chloe and I are just colleagues." "I know." "Then why?" "Why what?" She looked up at me. "Why did you get even colder?" She was silent for a long time. The chill radiating from her was almost suffocating. "I didn't get colder. I've always been this way." She finished her food and got up to leave. "Claire, can we please talk?" I stood up to block her way. "Talk about what?" "About our marriage. About our relationship. Isn't our relationship fine? We don't fight. We have no conflicts. But we don't have any love either." The moment the words left my mouth, I saw something flicker in her eyes, but it was gone as quickly as it appeared. "Love." She laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Ethan, when we got married, did you ever mention the word love to me?" I froze. She was right. We never talked about love. It was arranged by our families, and we both agreed. I thought she felt the same way I did. "Claire, I have to get to work." She walked around me and left. I was left standing there alone. From the direction she'd gone, waves of coldness still drifted back. On the way to work, I kept thinking about what Claire said. Love? We really hadn't talked about it when we got married. But after 3 years, couldn't we have developed some kind of feeling for each other? So why was it that all I ever felt from her was ice? When I got to the office, Chloe came over to my desk. "Ethan, you don't look so good. Is it because of yesterday?" The warmth from her helped to slightly relax my tense nerves. "A little," I admitted. "I'm sorry. Did I cause a misunderstanding between you and your wife?" Her eyes were filled with guilt. "It's not your fault." "Then what is it?" Looking at her concerned expression, I couldn't help but let it out. "Chloe, do you think a marriage without love should continue?" She was taken aback. "Ethan, you and your wife. We've been married 3 years, but there's no love between us. Maybe you just haven't found the right way to be with each other." "No." I shook my head. "We're just not right for each other." Chloe was quiet for a moment. "Ethan, if you're truly not right for each other, forcing it won't be good for anyone." But are you sure you're not right for each other? Maybe your wife just isn't good at expressing herself." Her words left me deep in thought. Was Claire really just bad at expressing herself? But what I felt from her was undeniably cold. After work, I didn't go straight home. I stopped by a flower shop and bought a bouquet of lilies, Claire's favorite. Maybe I needed to be more proactive. Maybe our marriage could still be saved. When I got home, Claire was in the kitchen cooking. "I bought you flowers." I handed the lilies to her. She glanced at them and took the bouquet. "Thank you." Still so detached. The chill from her hadn't lessened at all. "Claire, can we start over?" She stopped what she was doing and turned to face me. "Start what over?" "Start our marriage over. Start getting to know each other again." "Ethan, we've been married for 3 years. But we don't know anything about each other. I don't know what you like, what you want." "Do you want to know?" she asked. "Of course I do." She was silent for a long time. The clock in the living room ticked away, each second stretching into an eternity. The cold radiating from her kept me frozen in place. "What I want," she finally said, "is something you can't give me." "What?" "Tell me, maybe I can." "Just forget it, Ethan." She turned back to the stove. "We're fine like this. Let's not change anything." Her words were like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. I felt a despair I had never known before. Dinner was, as usual, silent. Claire barely ate, putting her chopsticks down after just a few bites. "I'm going to go grade papers." She stood up to leave, but I stopped her. "Claire, let's get a divorce." Her body went rigid. She turned back to look at me. "What did you say?" I said, "Let's get a divorce." "Why?" "Because we don't love each other." Because we're not happy together. She looked at me, her eyes holding an emotion I couldn't decipher. Is it because of Chloe Davis? No. I shook my head. It's because we're genuinely not right for each other. Not right. She laughed, that same bitter sound. Ethan, do you even know what right for each other means? I know it's not this. Two people who are right for each other should be warm together, happy together. Not like us. We're like two strangers. Warm, happy, she repeated my words. Have you ever felt warm for me? I was stunned. Why would she ask that? No, I said honestly, all I've ever felt from you is cold. Hearing my answer, her face turned pale. The chill emanating from her intensified, so strong it made me shiver. I see, she murmured to herself, then looked at me. Fine, let's get a divorce. With that, she turned and went upstairs, leaving me alone at the dining table. I thought I would feel relieved, but why was my heart filled with nothing but emptiness and loss? Why, in the moment she agreed to the divorce, did I feel not freedom, but a profound sense of having lost everything? After Claire agreed to the divorce, we started living separately. She moved into the guest room upstairs. We began preparing the paperwork. But then, something strange happened. From the moment she agreed, I could no longer feel that icy coldness from her. In its place was something more complex. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it definitely wasn't cold. You seem down lately, Ethan, Chloe said with concern. We had just finished a meeting, and she stayed behind to talk to me. I'm okay. Is it about things at home? I nodded. If you need any help, you can always talk to me. She sat very close to me. The warmth from her was the same as always. But for some reason, I didn't feel comforted by it like before. In fact, I felt a little distracted. Chloe, do you think a person can be wrong about their own feelings? I asked suddenly. What do you mean? Like, you believe what you're feeling is real, but it might actually be wrong. She thought for a moment. I guess it's possible. People's feelings can be influenced by their emotions. Influenced by emotions? For example, if you have a prejudice against someone, you'll magnify their flaws and ignore their good qualities. Her words made me pause. Had I been prejudiced against Claire all this time? Was that why all I felt from her was coldness? But my ability had never been wrong before. When I got home, Claire was packing. She was planning to stay at her parents' house for a while. Take a look at this stuff. If there's anything you want, you can keep it, she said, gesturing to a few items in the living room. Most of it was hers. Books, plants, some small decorative pieces. Things she liked. It was only then that I realized how little I knew about her preferences after 3 years of marriage. Claire, this plant. I pointed to a potted green plant on the balcony. It's a pot hose. It likes the shade, doesn't need much water, she said simply. You like it a lot? It's okay. Her reply was still cool, but I didn't feel any coldness from her. This confused me. Why is it called a pot hose? I asked again. She stopped what she was doing and glanced at me. Because it stays green all year round. It's resilient. It can survive even in the harshest environments. When she said this, her tone held something I'd never heard before. Like you, I blurted out. She paused, then smiled. But it wasn't a bitter smile. It was a complex one. Maybe. That evening, as Claire was about to leave, I suddenly didn't want her to go. Claire, do you really have to go? The divorce papers are ready. We can file them next week. I know, but what? I looked at her, wanting to say something but not knowing what. Nothing. She picked up her suitcase and walked to the door, then turned back to look at me one last time. Ethan, thank you for these 3 years. For what? Thank you for at least not hurting me. Her words struck me. What did she mean, at least not hurting her? In her mind, was I the kind of person who would? Claire, I never wanted to hurt you. I know. She nodded. That's why I'm thanking you. And with that, she left. The house suddenly became silent. I sat alone on the sofa, feeling the emptiness of the space around me. Strangely, I didn't feel liberated. Instead, I felt an immense sense of loss, as if I had lost something critically important. The next day was Saturday, and I had nothing to do. I stayed home alone, surrounded by traces of Claire, her favorite mug on the coffee table, her slippers by the door, the grade books she'd marked up in the study. I picked up one of the grade books and flipped through it. It was filled with her neat corrections. Every misspelled word was circled in red ink with the correct spelling written beside it. Every essay had her comments at the end. Her handwriting was tidy, her words gentle. This is a wonderful essay. It would be even better with a few more descriptive details. You have a great imagination. Keep up the good work. Your handwriting is beautiful. I really enjoyed reading this. Every sentence was warm, filled with genuine care for her students. Was this the same cold, distant Claire I knew? I kept flipping and suddenly saw a small note tucked between the pages. It was from a student. It read, Ms. Thompson, my mom says she's very jealous of your husband. She says you must be very happy. Below it was Claire's reply. Please tell your mom thank you. But whether someone is happy or not, only they can know for sure. Reading the note, an indescribable feeling washed over me. What did she mean? Only they can know for sure. Was she unhappy? But she had never complained to me about anything. Never asked for anything. She rarely even got angry. She was just distant, just aloof. I had always thought it was because she didn't love me. But now, I wondered, could there have been another reason? On Monday, I was distracted at work, my mind entirely consumed by thoughts of Claire. Ethan, what's wrong? Chloe came over to my desk. Nothing, just a little tired. Is it about things at home? I heard you two were. We're getting a divorce, I said bluntly. Chloe paused, then sat down next to me. Really? Yeah. So how are you feeling now? I don't know. I shook my head. I thought I'd feel relieved, but what? But I don't. I just feel lost. Chloe was silent for a moment. Ethan, are you sure you don't love your wife? The question stunned me. Did I love Claire? I had never seriously considered it. At lunch, I didn't eat with Chloe. I went alone to a small cafe, the same place where Claire and I had first met. It was 3 years ago, a setup arranged by our parents. I remembered she was wearing a simple white dress that day, very elegant. She was sitting by the window, quietly sipping her tea. When she saw me, she stood up and greeted me politely. Hello, I'm Claire Thompson. Hi, I'm Ethan Hayes. We talked for 2 hours that day. About work, about life, about our plans for the future. She didn't say much, but everything she said was thoughtful and clear. The temperature I felt from her then was calm. Not passionate, but not cold either. Like the warm sunlight of an autumn afternoon. When did she start to turn cold? I racked my brain, tried to remember. The first month after we were married, she would still initiate conversations. She'd ask how my day at work was if I was tired. The second month, she talked a little less, but it was still normal. The third month. I remembered. The third month, my mother came to stay with us for 2 weeks. My mom never really liked Claire. She found her too quiet, not affectionate enough. This daughter-in-law of yours just doesn't know how to care for people, my mom would often say. Look at her. All she does after work is grade papers. She never spends any time with you. And the food she makes isn't to my taste. She doesn't put any heart into it. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I thought my mom had a point. Claire was indeed introverted and not very expressive. And she certainly wasn't very warm toward my mother. After my mom left, I started to hold it against Claire, too. I thought that as a wife, she should be more proactive, more concerned about her family. From that point on, my attitude toward her also grew colder. She seemed to sense it and began to withdraw even more. We spoke less and less. We interacted less and less. Until we ended up where we are now. So that was it. That was the root of the problem. But what good did it do? Figuring it out now. We were already getting a divorce. In the afternoon, I got a call from Claire. Ethan, I've reviewed the divorce agreement. It's fine. Are you free tomorrow afternoon? We can go file the papers. Tomorrow afternoon? Yeah, I've already taken a day off. Okay, I agreed. But after hanging up, my heart felt heavy and conflicted. Tomorrow, we would officially end this marriage. 3 years gone just like that. You don't look too happy, Chloe remarked, coming over again. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. I see. She sat down. You know, maybe this is for the best for both of you. Maybe. Ethan, if you need someone to be there for you, I can. Chloe, I cut her off. Thank you for all your concern, but I don't think now is the right time. She looked confused. What do you mean? I mean, I'm not ready to start a new relationship. But you're getting a divorce, aren't you? Yes, but getting a divorce doesn't mean I've moved on. Chloe's expression shifted. The warmth I usually felt from her began to feel unstable. You still love her? I don't know, I said honestly. I need time to figure things out. That evening, I went back to the flower shop and bought another bouquet of lilies. Then I drove to her parents' house. Her mother answered the door. Ethan, what are you doing here? Hello, Mrs. Thompson. I was hoping to see Claire. She's upstairs. I'll go get her. A few moments later, Claire came down. She saw the flowers in my hand and froze. What is it? I want to talk to you. We're filing the papers tomorrow. What's left to talk about? Claire, I want to ask you a question. What question? Do you think there's absolutely no chance of saving our marriage? She looked at me, and that flicker of emotion was back in her eyes. Ethan, what are you trying to say? I'm saying, maybe we can start over. Start over. She laughed, that same bitter sound. Ethan, do you have any idea what my life has been like for the past 3 years? You don't. You never once cared about how I was living. Her words were like daggers in my heart. Claire, I'm sorry, Forget it. She waved her hand dismissively. It's all in the past. Let's just sign the papers tomorrow and not complicate things. She turned to leave. Claire, I called out. If and I'm just saying if we were to start over, would you be willing to give me a chance? She stopped, her back to me, and stood there for a long time. Ethan, some things, once you miss them, they're gone forever. But, no buts. She turned to face me, tears shimmering in her eyes. Do you know? I waited for you for 3 years. Every single day, I waited, hoping you would finally see me, truly understand me. But you never did. You only ever saw what you wanted to see. You only ever knew what you assumed to be true. Her words left me speechless. Now you want to start over? But Ethan, I don't have the energy anymore. I don't want to wait any longer. That night, I couldn't sleep. Claire's words echoed in my mind. I waited for you for 3 years. You only ever saw what you wanted to see. I don't have the energy anymore. I finally realized that for 3 years, I had never truly tried to understand her. I thought she was cold, but maybe she just didn't know how to express herself. I thought she didn't care about me, but maybe she was just waiting for me to make the first move. I thought she didn't love me, but maybe. The next afternoon, we agreed to meet at the entrance of the county clerk's office. I arrived half an hour early and waited for her. When she showed up, she was wearing a black coat. Her face was a little pale, and her eyes were slightly red and swollen, as if she had been crying. "You're here," she said simply. "Yeah." We walked into the building together. We queued, took a number, and waited. We didn't say a word to each other the entire time, just like two strangers. But sitting next to her, I didn't feel that icy cold. Instead, I felt a faint sadness, a deep, heavy sadness emanating from her. Number 36. A clerk called our number. We stood up and walked to the window. "You're here to file for divorce?" the clerk asked. "Yes," Claire answered. "I'll need your IDs and marriage certificate." We handed over our documents. The clerk began entering our information into the system. "What is the reason for the divorce?" "Irreconcilable differences," Claire said. The clerk nodded and continued typing. I looked at her profile. 3 years, and I don't think I'd ever studied her face so carefully. Her eyelashes were long, her nose was straight, and she had a small mole near the corner of her lips. She was beautiful. Why had I never noticed that before? "Sir, please sign here." The clerk pushed the divorce agreement in front of me. I picked up the pen and looked at the terms. The house would be mine, the savings would be split evenly, and we would each keep our other assets. It was simple, fair, but the hand holding the pen was trembling. Once I signed this, it would really be over. 3 years of marriage gone. "Sir," the clerk prompted. I glanced at Claire beside me. Her head was down, and I couldn't see her expression, but I could feel the profound sadness rolling off her in waves. That sadness was worse than any coldness. It was agonizing. "Sir, please sign," the clerk urged again. I raised the pen, positioning the tip over the signature line, but it just hovered there, unable to descend. "Sir, I'm sorry, I need to think about this," I said, putting the pen down and standing up. "What?" Claire looked up at me, her eyes wide with shock. "I need to think about this," I repeated. Then I turned and walked out of the building, leaving Claire sitting there alone. I waited outside the county clerk's office for a long time. Finally, Claire came out. She saw me and stopped short. "You're still here? I was waiting for you." "Waiting for me for what?" "Claire, can we give each other one more chance?" She stared at me, her eyes filled with an emotion I couldn't comprehend. "Ethan, what are you trying to do?" "I want to save our marriage." "Now? You want to save it now?" Her voice trembled. "Ethan, do you have any idea how hard that was for me in there?" 3 years, Ethan. For 3 years, every single day I thought, maybe tomorrow he'll care a little more. Maybe tomorrow he'll talk to me. Maybe tomorrow he'll realize how much I actually love him. As she spoke, tears started streaming down her face. "But you never did. You just treated me like a roommate, a housekeeper. You never once treated me like your wife." Every word was a knife twisting in my heart. "Claire, I'm sorry. Do you know how hurt I was when your mother said I didn't care enough about you? And do you know how hopeless I felt when you started treating me with that same coldness?" "I didn't know." "Of course you didn't know, because you never cared about my feelings." She wiped away her tears and looked at me. "Ethan, I'm so tired. I don't want to live like this anymore. Claire, give me a chance. Let me get to know you again, love you again." I took her hands in mine. They were cold, but what I felt coming from her was no longer that familiar ice. It was a complex storm of emotions. There was anger, disappointment, and sorrow. But there was also a tiny flicker of hope, a very faint hope. "Ethan, can you really do that?" she asked. "I can." "Can you ignore your mother's opinions?" "I can." "Can you genuinely care about me and understand me?" "I can." She looked at me, fresh tears welling in her eyes. "But Ethan, I'm afraid to believe you." "Claire, it's been 3 years. I've gotten used to your indifference, used to living alone. To suddenly ask me to trust again, to invest myself again. I can't do it. She pulled her hands away and took a step back. I'm sorry, Ethan. Maybe you're being sincere, but I just can't do it anymore. With that, she turned and walked away. I stood there, watching her back recede. The sorrow radiating from her grew stronger and stronger, so thick I could barely breathe. I wanted to run after her, but my feet felt like they were encased in lead. I knew I had hurt her too deeply, so deeply that she wasn't willing to give me another chance. In that moment, I finally understood what regret truly meant, what loss truly was. I had lost someone who truly loved me, and I had been completely oblivious. After returning from the county clerk's office, I felt like a ghost. I sat in the empty house, surrounded by Claire's presence. Her mug was still on the coffee table. Her slippers were by the door. Her pothose plant was on the balcony, its leaves a vibrant, shining green. Just as she'd said, it could survive even in the harshest environment. But what kind of environment had I given her? That night, Chloe called me. Ethan, I heard you two didn't go through with it today. Yeah, what? I changed my mind. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Ethan, this isn't fair to anyone. I know. If you've decided on a divorce, you should be decisive. Dragging it out will only make everyone miserable. Chloe, I think I might actually love her. Another silence. What do you mean? I think I've loved her all along. I just didn't know it. Ethan, are you just feeling guilty? No. Then what is it? I thought about it, but I didn't know how to explain. My special ability, the shift in what I felt from Claire, I couldn't tell Chloe any of that. I can't explain it clearly, but I know that losing her hurts. But you said you weren't happy together. Yes, but that's because neither of us was trying to love the other. Chloe's voice turned cool. Ethan, I think you're being impulsive. Once you calm down, you'll realize you two really aren't right for each other. Chloe, I'm hanging up. She ended the call. From her final words, I felt something I'd never felt from her before. Coldness. It was faint, but it was definitely cold. The next day, I didn't go to the office. I went to Claire's school. I had to see her, to talk to her properly. Can I help you? The security guard at the gate asked. I'm looking for Claire Thompson. And you are? I'm her husband. The guard gave me a once-over, had me sign in, and let me pass. Claire's classroom was on the second floor. I looked through the window and saw her teaching. She was standing at the front of the room, chalk in hand, writing on the blackboard. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating her. She looked so gentle, so patient, completely different from the woman at home. Leo, could you read this passage for us? She called on a student. The boy stood up and began to read, a little nervously. He stumbled over a few words, but she didn't criticize him. Instead, she gently corrected him. That's okay. Try reading it again. Her voice was soft, full of encouragement and care. Is this who she really was? Gentle, patient, full of love. So why did she become so cold at home? After class, Claire walked out of the room and saw me standing in the hallway. She was surprised, then walked over. What are you doing here? I wanted to see you. Is something wrong? I looked at her, so many words caught in my throat, not knowing where to begin. Claire, can I ask you a question? What is it? At school, you're so gentle and patient. Why are you so cold at home? She looked at me, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. You think I'm cold? Yes. She was quiet for a moment. Students were running down the hall, glancing at us curiously as they passed. Ethan, do you know what a mask is? She asked suddenly. A mask? At school, I'm Ms. Thompson. I have to be gentle and patient. It's a requirement of my job. And at home, I'm Claire. I can be myself, but is being yourself the same as being cold? She looked at me, her eyes filled with an unspeakable sadness. Ethan, do you know why I'm cold? I shook my head, because all my warmth was burned away. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. What do you mean? Early in our marriage, I tried to be warm. I tried to be proactive, but your reactions made it clear that you didn't need my warmth. I didn't. You did. You cut me off. Every time I tried to talk to you, your responses were dismissive. Every time I did something for you, you took it for granted. Slowly, I just stopped trying. Claire, I honestly didn't realize. I know you didn't, and that's the problem. She glanced at her watch. I have another class. Claire, wait. I grab her arm. Can we please start over? I promise. This time I will put my heart into loving you. She looked down at my hand on her arm, but didn't pull away. Ethan, do you know what it feels like for a heart to give up? It's like a fire being doused with water, little by little. At first, there's still smoke, still a struggle. But eventually, there's not even smoke left. Just ash. She gently pulled her arm free. My heart is already dead, Ethan. For you to talk about starting over now, I can't feel any temperature anymore. No, your heart isn't dead, I said quickly. Yesterday, at the county clerk's office, I felt your sadness. If your heart were truly dead, you wouldn't have felt sad. She stared at me, stunned. You felt my sadness? Yes. How could you feel it? I hesitated, then decided to tell her the truth. Claire, I have a special ability. What kind of ability? I can feel the temperature of people's emotions. She looked at me, her expression a mix of confusion and disbelief. What does that mean? It means I can feel whether a person is being sincere with me or not. Sincere people feel warm. Insincere people feel cold. As she listened, her expression grew more complex. So, all this time, you felt that I was cold? I nodded. But starting yesterday, what I felt from you wasn't coldness anymore. It was sadness. She looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. I see, she murmured. So, you really could feel it. Claire, Ethan, do you know why I became cold? I shook my head. Because I froze all my love for you. I was afraid of being hurt again, so I wrapped my heart in ice to keep anyone from getting close. She wiped a tear from the corner of her eye. But freezing something doesn't mean it disappears. It's just hidden away. Hearing Claire's words, I was flooded with an immense, crushing guilt. Her coldness wasn't because she didn't love me. It was because she loved me so much, but got nothing in return, and chose to protect herself. And I, like a fool, had mistaken her defense mechanism for indifference. Claire, I am so sorry. I took her hands in mine. It's all my fault. She didn't pull away, but she didn't respond either. Give me one chance. Let me warm you up again, please. She looked at me, tears swimming in her eyes. Ethan, are you really sure? You won't let me down again. I'm sure, but I don't know how to trust you again. Just then, the school bell rang. I have to get to class, she said. I'll wait for you after school. Ethan, I'll wait, I said firmly. No matter how long it takes, I'll wait. I waited at the school gate all afternoon. At 4:30, Claire walked out of the building. She was surprised to see I was still there. You really waited the whole afternoon? Yeah. She walked over to me, and we started heading home together. Claire, I've been thinking a lot. About what? About where things went wrong these past 3 years. She said nothing, waiting for me to continue. I realized the problem was me. I never tried to understand the real you. Instead, I tried to force you to be the person I imagined you should be. For example, when my mom said you weren't affectionate enough, I just believed her. I never stopped to think that maybe you just have a different way of expressing yourself. Claire stopped walking and looked at me. You understand that now? I do. I nodded. And I understood something else, too. What's that? I understood what love is. A flicker of light appeared in her eyes. Love isn't about demanding that someone change. It's about accepting them completely, including their silence, their quiet nature, all of their quirks. Ethan, Claire, I love you. I really love you. Not the idea of you I had in my head, but the real you. Hearing my words, Claire finally let her tears fall. You know, I've waited 3 years to hear you say that. I'm sorry it took so long. Ethan, I have to tell you something too. What is it? The truth is, I never stopped loving you. Even at my coldest, there was still a flame burning for you deep inside my heart. Her words filled me with a profound warmth. From her, I started to feel a temperature I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't intense, but it was real. So what about now? I asked. Are you willing to start over? She looked at me, silent for a long time. Ethan, I need time. How long? I don't know. Maybe a month, maybe 6 months, maybe longer. I'll wait. Are you sure? I'm sure. She nodded. Okay then, we could try. But this time we take it slow. We start over as friends and get to know each other again. Okay. From that day on, I began my campaign to win back my wife. Every day after work, I would go to the school to pick her up. She was a little uncomfortable at first, but gradually she accepted it. How are the students today? I'd ask. Pretty good. Though one little boy cried because he forgot his homework. What happened? I comforted him and told him he could turn it in tomorrow. You can't be too strict with kids. Listening to her talk about these things, I discovered a completely new Claire. She was so caring, so gentle, so patient with her students. These were qualities I had never once noticed in our 3 years of marriage. Claire, you're a really great teacher. Why do you say that? Because you have a warm heart. She glanced at me, a faint blush on her cheeks. The temperature coming from her grew a little warmer. On the weekend, I suggested we go shopping. Let's get some things for the house. A lot of our stuff is expired. Okay, she agreed. At the supermarket, I noticed how meticulous she was. When picking out laundry detergent, she carefully read the ingredients. When choosing produce, she checked for freshness. Is this how you've always shopped? I asked. Yeah, why? I never noticed. That's because you never came with me, she said quietly. Another pang of guilt shot through me. In 3 years of marriage, I could count on one hand a number of times we'd gone to the grocery store together. I'll come with you from now on, I said. Really? Really? She smiled. A faint smile, but a genuine one. The temperature from her warmed up another degree. While we were waiting in the checkout line, she suddenly asked me, Ethan, do you think we can ever go back to how things were before? Before what? Before the misunderstandings, before the coldness. When we were in love. I thought for a moment. Claire, I don't think we need to go back. She looked surprised. Why not? Because the us from before didn't really know each other. The us now is at least trying to. That's true, she nodded. So what do you think our future will look like? I hope it's warm. Me too. In that moment, a distinct wave of warmth came from her. It was no longer faint, but tangible and real. Like the spring sun, gentle and persistent. I knew the ice around her heart was starting to melt.